Kelly was in the picture. You just didn't feel that Missouri was a fit for her?
She had already pretty much decided on Oklahoma before that, before Coach Kelly made
Got the
that
job?
decision.
Okay.
Finley hadn't made the official announcement, but we traveled to Oklahoma and spent about 7 hours there. And Finley loves the entire staff. I mean, Coach Markeisha and
Shannon
Tyus.
Gage,
Oh, Shannon and
Mike.
Tyus and Mike and Derek, who's in charge of all the video. I mean, he's amazing. A huge Oklahoma City Thunder fan. I know he was super stressed out going into Game 7.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got Courtney in the office and Coach Nikki, and then you've got, she really liked Jonas a lot, and then now he moved on, but she was a big fan of
Well, he
Pauline
went to
back
what?
when
San
she
Jose
was in
State?
Alabama. So Pauline just stepped right in, and she was already a big fan of her, knowing some of the people that she did at Alabama. So the whole staff she loves. We spent all day there, and Finley let them know at the end of the day that was definitely where she wanted to go. She just, wanted that long visit again to confirm it. But then she kind of sat on it for a while because she did what she feels is right, and what I agree with is that she reached out to every single coach that she spent time with on the phone and that offered her, and let them know ahead of time so they didn't find out, on a social media post or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. That was Aaron Velasco. That was a big thing for him and McKenna, that he
Yeah.
felt that that's important too. That shows professionalism, character, and what type of person you are. So, all right, well, good stuff, man. Well, are there any misconceptions people have about recruiting, the recruiting process? I know you've been through it, and you know basketball. You're a diehard hoop mind. So, for some parents out there, are there some misconceptions about recruiting?
There's probably a
Process?
lot of misconceptions. A lot of people are looking for different things, so it's hard. Which has been the great thing about your podcast, by the way, is you hear different stories from different people. Some people, and none of them are right, none of them are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Necessarily, it's whatever fits that family. Some people, care more about NIL. Some people care more about location and staying close to home. Some kids want to get away from home. Like, everybody wants something different. But like I said earlier, I think the one thing that's overlooked by honestly everyone, whether it's people who evaluate, people who the families of the players, not necessarily the coaches, because they understand what they're trying to do and who they're trying to fit into a program. Coach Jenny, for example, knows exactly what kind of player she's looking for. But I think a lot of other people overlook the fit. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why you see so many kids in the portal every year, is they don't necessarily go where they fit in the best.
Well, you've got to do your homework, and it's really, really essential now, and especially in this roster reconstruction era that we're in, where you can flip a roster really quick. And as a parent, even as a transfer, you've got to do your homework. And a lot of parents don't understand that segment of it. They don't probably have the ability to see all those games, to see those styles, and then they just go by, like what my boy Antonio Davis was saying, don't go by the jersey, the name on the front of the jersey. You've got to do your homework. You got to check out the league, look at the teams that are in that league. Where do you fit? And most of all, go where you're wanted.
Exactly. And that's kind of, I spend a lot of time, as you know, traveling, watching basketball. So I don't really have time to focus on what the next thing I'd like to do in life. But what I really would like to do is, and you do a lot of this as well, I'd like to help people find that fit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you hear some realtors talk about, they don't really care about what they make on a house, or they just get the joy of matching the right family with the right house. And I would like to
Right.
take that approach to the recruiting process. And
Uh-huh.
because you and I talked the other day, and I'll use Finley as an example because I know the strengths and the limitations of my kid. I don't want to talk about someone else's, player and child.
Yeah.
Finley's been ranked in the last couple of years everywhere from top 5 to in the 50s. And the funny thing is every one of those numbers is right. Just because you're ranked, just pick a number, 18 in the country or whatever you happen to be, that doesn't mean you're the 18th best fit for every program. Finley, for a program like Oklahoma, like we talked, that is an offense that is perfect for her, high IQ, court vision, elite shooting. That's a perfect fit for her from a style wise.
Right.
So, if she were ranked in top 10 or whatever, that would be a perfect spot for her for that style. But if you flip it and go to a more defensive oriented style, again, not that either of these styles are right or wrong. They both lead to a lot of success and a lot of winning, but an Ole Miss, for example, in the 50s is probably more right for Finley. And again, so all those numbers that she's had over the last 2 years, the ironic thing is they're all the right number. It just depends on which school you're talking about. And I don't think people look at that enough. They just look at that one number that's by the name and think, okay, this is the 13th best kid in the country. They're a 13th best fit for everyone. And that it just doesn't work that way.
Well, you dropping knowledge, you're understanding me, because we talk a lot about basketball, and I think the evolution of basketball in college, that's where it's at. Like I said, with the roster reconstruction, you have got to make the right hits on these kids. And you got to do, I was talking to Townsend about that up at Colorado State about you really got to get a dossier on the kids. You're going to have to start doing your homework. And as parents, do your homework. We're dropping knowledge at the Girl Dad podcast. And I think that and that's, like I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast was to be able to help in some capacity, in addition to being around basketball and having the opportunity to stay involved with the game and get young. But also, I didn't even, before the show, I meant to talk about that PSA prostate check for all my girl dads. I want you to go get checked. I got mine. I got my results today, guys, and I'm not happy with it. It came back. I was 4, maybe a year ago now, I jumped up to 6. So get your prostate checked, get your PSA levels checked. And that was just a quick break for Sean and I to make sure that everybody get their prostate checks, because that's a big thing for us guys. And we tend to not want to share our feelings. So that's one thing right there.
No, you're 100% right. Like we've got to be around, and watch them play.
Enjoy basketball.
No, it's exactly right. No, 100%. So that's
okay.
That's super important.
Yeah. I get the PSA notch there. So, hey, prostate people, get on here and give me a sponsorship so I can keep pumping it. Okay, one more recruiting part, man, I got to get into a little bit.